T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Brave Healing, Words That Change the World. I am Laura DeFranco, and my mission is to start a revolution of brave healers who are healing themselves and the world by sharing their stories. On this podcast, we're going to have the conversations you crave, the ones that create a ripple. So take some time later on and find me at bravehealer.com and on Facebook at Brave Healer by Laura DeFranco. So you guys, my book, Brave Healing, came out June 1st by Possibilities Publishing Company. And I will just let all my listeners know today that there's a 99-cent ebook promotion going on right now. So if you need to get a little Brave Healing on, now's the time. You can grab the book for 99 cents on Amazon. And I would love to hear what you think. And if you happen to be in D.C., in the Washington, D.C. area on or around August 11th, please put that on your calendar and join me for a book talk, workshop, poetry, open mic extravaganza at Johnny Pistola's in D.C. from 7 to 10 p.m. And you guys can get information on my Facebook page. So now, I'm going to invite you all to take a deep breath with me and really arrive here in the moment in your body. Let yourself feel the words today. Notice how a word or a tone or a topic feels inside of you. Feeling is healing. And today I am welcoming Gila Nehemia, founder of Wild Writers Heal, to the show. Gila is a spiritual erotic poet, writer, coach, and extremely wise woman. She's passionate about empowering people to experience a sacred erotic love partnership within and without. She believes that conscious erotic self-love changes the paradigm of love relationships in a person's inner and outer circles. As a shamanic healer, Gila loves nature and utilizes its inherent healing properties to heal herself and her loved ones. She holds sacred circles for women to provide support and divine transmission. She believes we're all on this earth to help each other grow and to radiate our light and love onto the world. And you guys can run and find her at wildwritersheal.com. Welcome, Gila.
Thank you so much, Laura. So excited to be here with you.
Well, I've been looking forward to this podcast, since we met and then created our Medium publication together. I know you've had some powerful healing experiences and been through a bit of an evolution, really. So tell our listeners what's going on in your world of late, especially over the last few months.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. The last few months has been a whirlwind. I actually was just in Spain for a retreat a few weeks ago. Any of you who are listening, you could look up the Ultimate Goddess Retreat. It was just out of this world. I was in these beautiful mountains in Spain, and it was out in nature in this really amazing retreat area. And we just were with other women. It was just a women's retreat. And it was a place where we could really feel sacred with our bodies. And it was something I really wanted to talk about today, that just the issue of eroticism and desire, it's not just between, or if some people may think it's between two people having sex or passionate sex or really in love with somebody. And all those things are true. But I think that really erotically loving your own body is something, it's about self-love and taking it to another level. And that's what we did in this retreat. And it just blew my mind. I really came out of it on such a high and really wanting to serve other women to be in that space, because I was able in these last few months, I've been able to reclaim my power. And I believe that's where it's out for me and other people that resonate with that message.
Well, I've had so many questions for you today, and this topic is so rich. But what I really was interested in is, talk to me about erotic self-love. How does that differ from the plain old self-love we hear everybody talking about right now? What is this next level that you're talking about?
So for me, what that means is it's about self-love. I pause because I just want to, really think about the words that I'm using. So it's about really loving every part of yourself. Every like cell in our body is divine. And, it's not. And for self-love initially was to me about affirmations and really believing in myself and my worthiness. And a lot of it is trapped inside of our bodies. We actually did this yoni egg practice when I was there, and I had some, thoughts about yoni eggs, like what is that? Is it going to be good for me? And those of you who are interested can message me later. But we used a specific kind of yoni egg that the material in itself was important, and the fact of putting it inside of yourself and the sacred act of doing it in a very sacred manner has infinite healing properties. And I think why I emphasize sacredness is because, and our publication was named Sacred Erotic. We actually decided upon that together. And I really fully believe in that. Now, loving yourself erotically means just really enjoying every part of yourself, not just your mind, not just your emotions, not just, that feeling sometimes that you have, but really worshiping your body. How can we expect another person to truly cherish us and love us, and have these amazing orgasmic experiences with us if we don't fully embody that ourselves? And that's what I experienced on this retreat. And it kind of just validated my own thoughts about it, because that's who I am. That's really my message of having sex with yourself, in all sorts of ways. It doesn't mean physically, but, just mentally, emotionally, like truly being in the aura of I don't know if I'm expressing it well enough, but, wearing sexy clothes just because you want to, it's not for impressing anyone else.
Yes. Yes, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. And, the thing is though, and I'm going to skip questions here because this next one goes right in with a little bit about what you're talking about. So I know that growing up for me, there was a part of me that brushed my sexual fantasies and desires off because I had this idea that they were bad or wrong or dirty. And I've come a long way from that, but I'm interested in how you help your clients heal this. How do we get from that mindset to the one of using our desires as divine messages from our soul and then honoring those desires?
Yeah, that's a loaded question.
I know.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of it has to do with what they've been brought up to believe and, experiences I talk with my clients about of how they feel like, especially in terms of trauma, because many people, I think across the board, men and women have had various traumatic experiences in their life. It could have had to do with sexuality or not. It doesn't necessarily, I don't know if it always matters the exact experience. In some ways it does because of where that healing needs to take place in your body. But sometimes it's emotional blocks related to the experience that are not letting, anyone, in this case, my client, actually embody the desire that they want to have. And once we're able to recognize that and heal that, and there's a variety of mechanisms to heal it. There could be, certain practices that you do on a daily level in terms of using your body, as well as writing practices, awareness of the way you feel, yoga, meditation. Depending on the person, I would tend to use certain things. But the real root is trying to get into what happened and what were their feelings when it happened, and seeing if there is a pattern that has occurred in their life.
Yes.
And then therefore going through the healing to stop the pattern.
Yes, you just named all of my favorite tools, awareness being my most favorite. And basically everything you're talking about is about guiding somebody to the awareness, and especially the awareness of the pattern. So for me, the pattern was always thinking that sexual, sensual, erotic, anything was related to being bad. And that's, a sad connection, honestly, because I missed out on a lot of the beauty of this topic for a lot of my life. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say about that.
I wanted to just say something. I think another thing I was thinking about today, actually, as I was dressing up for the podcast, was I was brought up in a religious family and a conservative family, and so therefore, sex in and of itself wasn't bad, but to explore different, to explore it as a young woman was not acceptable in my household. And so I grew up thinking that all of my desires, I never really understood how they could ever be met, and as I got older and went to college, I did explore those things, but I also had feelings that it was bad. And actually, when I talk about this as a divine message, or desires as being divine messages, some of our listeners may be thinking to themselves, well, like, wow, that doesn't gel with me. That doesn't really make sense to me. But I experienced it. I experienced actually living these desires that I truly felt. And then getting messages from the divine, like seeing rainbows in the sky, just all of these divine messages, that it just confirmed my belief that this is my mission in life, that we weren't meant to be these creatures of, what should I say? We weren't meant to be abstinent or meant to only have sex with, whatever, if we're not enjoying what we're doing at the moment with a particular partner, and you're dreaming about somebody else, so figure out a way to get to that space in a consensual manner. That's where the sacredness comes in. And so it finally made sense to me that as long as I can fully accept it and be able to communicate that with the partner that I'm with and do what I am desiring, and we're consensual about the desire, he or she is also desiring it, then it becomes a sacred act. And that's kind of one of the things I want to come across today.
Yeah, I think when we get in conversation about two people instead of just self-love conversation, then that's a whole interesting, different ballgame. And I really agree with you that the quality and amount of communication makes it's a make or break situation, and it has to do with communication. So
you're right.
Go ahead, hon.
No, I kind of jumped the gun. I was jumping into different areas, but yeah, in terms of the erotic self-love, I think it's just really fully honoring any desire you have. Self-pleasuring yourself, can take a variety of different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to only be masturbation. It could also be, just really enjoying being with your kids, just really enjoying anything that you really love, because that's an expression of your desire.
Yes, definitely. Desire has a very broad definition and a very unique definition to each individual. And it's really about getting in touch with what yours are. So I mentioned the publication, but I didn't totally give the details. And I want to let everybody know that our publication on Medium is called Sacred Erotic Self. And you and I created the mission statement for Sacred Erotic Self based on a belief that sexuality is intimately tied to creativity. And just so you all know, if you have a story, a blog, a poem, a piece of art that goes along with this particular theme, we would love to showcase your work on Sacred Erotic Self. So go on there, go on medium.com and type in Sacred Erotic Self and find us. And